Welcome you all for the session 5 of day 2. Session 5 will be on data exploration. It will be handled by Dr. B. Prasanna Lakshmi, Faculty of Computer Science, King Khalid University, Saudi Arabia. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our resource person to the gathering. Dr. Prasanna Lakshmi started her career as a lecturer at KSKC Arts and Science, India. After performing different roles at various reputed institutions, now she is working as research assistant professor at CAI King Khalid University. She is an IBM certified data science professional. Currently, she has various research funds undergoing in her supervision. She holds different patents from different countries. Dr. Prasanna Lakshmi has also authored many books. She has been conferred with Young Scientist Award from SCRA 2016. She has won Best Faculty Award from NAC Foundation 2017. She has won the Certificate of Outstanding Contribution in Reviewing awarded from JNCA Elsevier July 2018. Now I request our resource person, Dr. Prasanna Lakshmi, to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, all. I hope you can hear me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you, ma'am.
Yes, just a minute. I have some issue with sharing my screen. I cannot share my screen.
Okay, ma'am. We will wait.
Is it from your side, ma'am? I couldn't share my screen.
You can try now, ma'am. Can you able to share the screen now, ma'am?
Just a minute. No, I couldn't share.
We will verify from outside, ma'am. Just wait, ma'am. Ma'am, please wait for a while, ma'am.
Yeah.
Now you can try from your side, ma'am.
Just a minute.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'll I will log out from here and join from another PC.
Okay, ma'am. No issues, ma'am. Participants, kindly wait.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So now we will look into some of the data exploration techniques, what is used in machine learning altogether. Yes, I think you can see my screen now, right?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes,
Am
yes,
I
I can
audible?
hear you. Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, you are not able to see your screen, ma'am. Are
I
you
think now,
sharing screen or?
I think now you.
Now, ma'am. Now it's fine, ma'am. Now it's
Yeah.
fine, ma'am. Fine.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So we will look into the data exploration techniques, and for today's session, I'll be taking up with not with Anaconda, but with Jupyter, because some of the methods or some of the libraries what we use with Anaconda, you should be familiar with what are the errors that are encountered there. At the beginning stage, when you go into Anaconda, there may be some issues that you will not be able to identify and plot it what the library is missing out or how to update the library. So I think it would be better to go on with Python for now. When you are clear with your statistical methods and all other basics of Anaconda, then you can try all these same methods in your Anaconda also. So here you can see that data exploration. So what is data is, we get data from many sources of internet now. We use Facebook, we use WhatsApp, many social media. So each and every second of the time, much and much data are getting accumulated over in the servers. So when you want to retrieve some data alone for your usage and to find something or to build a model or to predict something, we go into machine learning techniques. So as a preliminary part of machine learning algorithms, we need to know what the data is and what we are doing with the data. Okay. So the data, what we are going to take up, it should be a meaningful data to find something. See, when you are having a data of a student, and if you want to find the price of a house, it is not possible. So based on the variables, what you choose, that is your dependent variable, your independent variables and dependent variables will happen. I think all will be aware of what is dependent and independent variables. If I'm right, you know what is dependent and independent variables. Am I right? No need of explanation of those things. Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you aware of data exploration techniques, or should I tell you about what is dependent data and what is independent data?
Ma'am, can you just just browse through it, because almost every one of us know what is dependent and independent data.
Okay, fine. So I'll take up from the ground altogether. I think my screen share is closed. Okay. Yes. So when you just say up two types of, for example, I take a database of a student. I'll have the student name. Then I'll have the marks of first subject, marks of second subject, marks of third subject, and the result. Okay. So this result will be dependent on the variables of mark 1, mark 2, and mark 3, but not on the student name. So this will not be counted as a dependent variable. So here what we mean is this result depends on all these marks. So this is called as the dependent variable, and these variables, whatever determines the result, is called as the independent variable. I hope you will be clear with this for now, but it is a very wide topic when we go into the analysis of the data. So just when we go into data exploration, we need to know what is dependent, what is independent variable. So dependent variable is nothing but which depends on some other variables, some other independent data. So when this mark 1 is not dependent on mark 2, mark 2 is not dependent on mark 1. No, there is no relationship between these three variables. So they are called as independent. But in turn, this result is a dependent variable which is dependent on these independent variables. Hope you are clear with this now. So when we are going with the data exploration techniques, Um, data exploration is very important aspect when you deal with machine learning model, because machine learning model is not like a small algorithm what we do in a minutes and we process it. When we go with machine learning algorithms, it is very important that we work on data for hours and even days. So when the data is not clear to move on, it would be very difficult to remodel the data again for the modified data. So what we should do is, first thing is we should get clear idea on what the data is, whether the data is working good or not, or if there is any other modifications to be done or any other alterations to be done over it. So based on that data only, we are going to build a new model or predict something or do something. So for machine learning, normally we take it up for some important task like classifying the data, clustering of a data, or we have some prediction of data. Okay, so there are many tasks in machine learning to go on with, but I'm not going to tell you altogether, because you will have those explanations in the relevant sessions. But for now, we are going to just see what is the data exploration, what we are going to do with it. Okay, so in data exploration, whenever we want to analyze a data, whenever we want to model a machine learning algorithm, we need some data. So before giving an input of the data, we need to analyze whether the data is correct or wrong. So when we are clear that the data or what data we provide is exactly correct and there is no issues with it, then we can easily proceed on with the building up of model, which is the last stage of machine learning. So whenever we say whether it is going to be a supervised machine learning model or unsupervised machine learning model, the output of your model will definitely depend on some program or a function which includes the input features. So these M1, M2, M3 are called as the input features, and this is going to be your prediction output. Okay, normally when we take a database or data, the last column will be taken as the dependent data and the remaining will be taken as the independent data. So it is the programmer who has to decide whether we are in need of having those data or shall we skip off those data. As I told you here, we have the student name, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3 and result, but the student name is no more related to the result. So it is my decision to delete the student name from the database and have only these 4 columns which are important for building the model. So without spending significant time in the sense I told you before, when you design a model, machine learning model, this machine learning model is entirely dependent on the data what you provide. So this is the data what we are going to split it as test and train data. Okay, don't worry about these things if you're not aware of. When you go for the proper sessions, you will get to understand it. So this train and test data, what we provide as input to the machine learning model should be very appropriate to reduce the amount of time it is occupied. Okay. So here, the key steps of data exploration is, first you have to load your data. Then you have to see what are the variables we need and what are the variables are not necessary for the model building. Then we have to do with variable analysis. Then we have to deal with missing data, if there are any missing values. Then we have to find some outliers, if any outliers are available there. Then we will go for feature engineering. So normally we don't use feature engineering. This is the next stage of data analysis. So data exploration will be covered only under these 5 topics. So when you come with the loading of data, when you load a data, you must understand what are the libraries available in Python first. If you're going to use on with Python or with R, any software, whatever platform you're going to work on, you should be aware of what are the variables available there. Normally we have character variable, numeric, categorical and continuous variable. So when you say that you're going to identify the predictor, which is the predictor and which is the target, this is what I told you. If I'm going to have a database, for example, I have another database like total square feet, amenities available, number of bedrooms, location, price. Can you say if which is going to be dependent and which is going to be the independent variable?
Total is
Ma'am,
dependent.
Price is dependent.
Yeah, price is dependent on. So this is going to decide the price of the house, or how much square feet it is.
Sorry, sir.
What are the amenities available? How many bedrooms are there? What is the location?
These are all
Based on
independent.
these independent variables, this price is going to be predicted, which is going to be a dependent variable. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So this price is what we call as the predictor. Okay. So this price it depends on total square feet, amenities, bedroom, location. It is fine, but what data we provide. For example, if I provide around 1,000 of data, around 1,000 data are available there, I have some missing values in amenities, more missing values in amenities. Then this amenities variable cannot support any more with the prediction of the price, because I have a lot of missing values there. I cannot say what are the amenities available over there. See, suppose I am in India, I cannot say what are the amenities available in US. If it is in India, in some other location which I am aware of, I'll be having an idea, okay, this is this. But when analyzing thousands of data, the programmer is someone who is sitting somewhere else. He will not be aware of all these data which happens in real time. Okay, so we are now in the position to decide what are the columns we are going to have, what are the columns we are going to delete, or what are the columns we are going to modify. If I am feeling that the total square feet is going to play an important role in the price, okay, if I'm going to decide total square feet is going to play an important role in the price, then I feel that total square feet should be there even if there are missing values. I should make up these missing values to make the total square feet column to be available there to predict the price of the house. So it depends on what sort of data we need and what importance we give. So how to find which is important, which is not important? We go on with correlation. I think you know what is correlation. Correlation is a statistical method. This correlation decides whether there is a relationship between this total square feet and price, whether there is a relationship between amenities and price, whether there is a relationship between bedroom and price, whether there is a relationship between location and price. So based on this, if I have a negative correlation, it is fine that even if I remove, it will not affect the accuracy of the model. Hope you can understand this. So when you go with categorical or discrete variables, we will have the values around 0 and 1. It will be fixed values between 0 and 1. But when you go with continuous variable, it is going to be an output of a mathematical function, like finding an average or a sum. So these are some of the types of variables what we will use. These variables I will show you in the code also. Before that, let us go with some theoretical concepts, then we will go to the programming part. So when you go with variable analysis, we have univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, multivariate analysis. So what is this univariate, bivariate, multivariate? When we concern with this example, can you say what is this problem, whether it is univariate, multivariate, or bivariate?
Univariate.
Univariate, how?
Because we depend upon the, I think so, the target value, that is price.
So when we are going to predict only one outcome, the outcome is going to be only one, then we say it will be univariate. Suppose if I have a student mark list with pass and fail category,
Yes, yes.
it is going to be bivariate.
Bivariate.
Because I'm going to bring the outcome as two categories. If it is going to be multivariate, I will have multiple options. Okay. So multiple options in the sense it can be like the standard of a student, a bright student, average student, below average student. So it depends on what type of outcome we are going to predict, how many outcomes we are going to predict. So when you go on with any sort of analysis, we should concentrate on these both aspects, whether we have any missing values there or outlier values. Outlier values in the sense, I think you can understand outlier values. Suppose if I have a student grade, it can be from 0 at the maximum to 100. This is what we know. If I have a value shown in the data as 105, this is an outlier. We fix a minimum value and a maximum value. When the value goes above this or below this in the database, in the data what you have, then it is called as the outlier value. Okay, so these outlier values you can find using box and whisker plots. So these things we will discuss now. Just for your idea, I am telling you. So univariate analysis can be also be like a categorical or a continuous variable, as what we told before. And the most important thing what you can analyze with univariate distribution is skew. I think you know what is this. It is a Gaussian curve. It means that the value is distributed evenly towards the left and towards the right. When you have a distribution like this, it means there is a skew. Okay. If you have like this also, it means there is a skew. So this skew will tell you how to improve the accuracy of your model, whether you have to correct it to bring it to the left or you have to correct it to bring it to the right. So even this skew will play an important role in developing the accuracy of your model. If you, it means that you can see here, all the data, maximum number of data will be spent over to the right hand side. So this you will have less number of values in the left side. Okay. For example, if I have 0 to 50, 50 to 100, this is the marks of the student. Maximum number of students have the values from 50 to 100. It means that whenever you predict something, all values will fall under this category only. None of the values will go to this category of prediction. When you're predicting something, when you're predicting the result of a student based on the new marks, you will have the maximum values here only because you're training the model based on these values only, not on these values. You give less importance to these 0 to 50 category. So always the value, the data what you take should be in a proper skew, and it should be it should be normal. It should be normal like a bell curve. And the thing is, it should be balanced. If you have two classes like pass and fail, you cannot have 90% of data as pass and 10% of data as fail. You should have 50% as pass and 50% as fail. The data, how much data we are going to take. Suppose if I am taking for 1,000 students, I cannot say that 900 students are pass and 100 students are fail. So what your model will learn? Your model will learn that more pass students are there. For it will be trained only for the pass values, not for the fail values. So even if you give a fail value, it will not be able to understand what to do, whether to give it as a pass category or as a fail category. So there comes some problems in the model building. So this should be avoided in the preliminary stages of data exploration itself. When you find a skew, you should be able to balance the skew and balance the classes of the data. Only then your result in the model building will be appropriate. So when you go with bivariate analysis, you will have two categorical variables. It is going to be a bar graph between two categorical variables. All these I'll show you in the example part. So from this, till this, the theoretical part is okay with, and we will now go on with the practical session. If you have any doubts till this regarding the theory, you can ask me. Yes, I think you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is the environment where we will be using in Jupyter. If the sessions are not gone through, you can use this link collab.research.google.com. Here you can give your sign-in details and you can start typing your program. There is no need to install anything, no need to update your library. Nothing is needed there. You can just straight away, like a plug and play, you can use the programming part. So if it is going to be with Anaconda, you can have the database in your PC itself. Since I'm going to use it in Jupyter, we have to upload the database each and every time whenever we use. So here is the upload option. I have a PIMA diabetes dataset from UCI machine repository. Or you can take any sort of data from Kaggle also. Okay, this is an optional part. I'm just telling you where you can find data sets for your use. Okay. So now when you go with the initial part, the first thing is you need to know how to upload your data. The data can be as a CSV format, or it can be with a text format, or it can be with XLSX format. I have used CSV format here. So there are other options also. You can load your files using Python standard library, or you can use a NumPy, or you can use Pandas. To load CSV files, we can go with the Python standard library, or you can use NumPy, or you can use Pandas. Okay. Okay, fine. So now we will use with Pandas, because Pandas is normally flexible for your usage. We can use it in any aspect, whatever we need. So my demonstration today will be with Pandas. Okay. So I have to go on with from Pandas import read _ CSV. So you can understand from this, from Pandas is the library. I'm going to import the read CSV method, where it will facilitate me to read the CSV file. So I'm giving the file name now. Or you can directly give it as
Whether, ma'am, it can be little bit zoomed or font size can be little bit. Yeah, very good, ma'am.
okay. Yes, data is equal to read _ CSV of, what is the file name I'm going to give here? The file name here is diabetes.csv. So diabetes.csv. Okay. So this is the data what I'm going to read. Normally, in many labs or lab sessions or programmings, you can see it will be given as DF. DF is nothing but data frame. You can give any variable name for it. Normally, they have a practice of giving DF. DF is data frame. Okay, it will be, you can find here, it will be any data frame. And now I'm going to display the data. You can see the data available here. There are some data given over here, but there is no heading. You can see there is no heading over here. If you want to see the database, I'll show you the database now. This is the database what I have. See, you can see this is the first row variable. First row. I don't have any column names here. So what happens here is the first row is taken as the header. Okay, but this is not the actual header. This is the first variable. You can see here 767 by 9. Okay, the same code, I will allocate some header names for it, and then we will have it. I'll give the header names with the variable name names, comma, it is number of pregnancy. You can see this description in the UCI library itself, what will be available there. If you want to know where it is, you just go to Kaggle, kaggle.com. You can find the Prima diabetes dataset. The data is available here and the description will be given over here. Yes, here. This is the order in which we have to make the data. Okay. So if you are not clear with where to download the data, you can download any data you can download from here. There are too much of data available in kaggle.com for your practice purpose. This is from UCI machine learning library only. They have taken it from UCI only. So this will give you the entire detail of what the data is, how the columns we need to arrange everything. So based on that, I am giving so the names will be given here as names equal to names. Okay, can you see now? It is before 767 by 8. Now it is 768 by 8. Okay, so all the data has come down and now we have the column names for each. And this, can you say which is the dependent variable here or the predictor variable?
Class.
So we are going to just predict whether the patient is diabetic or not. Okay, 1 means he is diabetic and 0 means it is not diabetic. So the remaining variables are going to be the independent variables over there. So now we are going to peek into the data, look into the data, what is available there. See, you can see here some data is missing over here. It means that it is not able to, the Python is not able to display all the 768 rows over here. So I can pick it out in specific data.head. This will give you the first 5 values of the data. Okay, this will give the first 5 values. If you want to take 15 values, just mention the number of values, how many values you want to specify here. Ma'am, is this doubt clearing session going to be all together or as a separate session?
Okay, ma'am. You can just explain what you want to say actually. Later only the participant will ask the questions to you. In between, if they want to ask the question, miss, they will ask now. You can clear.
Okay, fine. Because I
They will
cannot
post the
see the
question.
message.
Okay. They will post the questions in the chat box, ma'am. Actually, we have requested them to post the questions after the completion of the session only. But in between, most of the people want to clear about the topic. That's why they keep on posting the questions.
Yes, if it is so, please put your voice there. Don't give message because I cannot go and look over the message there.
Yes. So, dear participants, kindly wait for the turn to ask the questions from your side. So, let ma'am to finish the session, and later you can raise your questions for that. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So if I want to have if I want to have 15 data, I want to see 15 data, I can just include 15 so that I can see the 15 data available here. Okay, so this is based on how many values you need to see just to pick into the database. So after this, I need to know what is the size of my data, what is the shape of the data. Okay, so this will say how many rows and how many columns I have. 768 by 8. This is the same value what I have here, 768 by 8 columns. Okay, so just to know the shape of the data. Then how to find what are the data types available over there. Is it possible to see what are the data types available there? Data.dtypes. So this will give you the data types available for each. So you can see here, these are going to be integer values. This is going to be the float value, and this is going to be your integer value again. Okay. So this is how we will see what data is available over there. But when you go with the descriptive statistics, this is a very important part which we see in descriptive in data exploration. This the descriptive statistics, where you will find the almost all the data available over there. So what will happen is data dot describe. This one single method will give you value of these 8 statistical properties: count, mean, standard deviation, minimum. This is 25% quartile, 50% quartile, and 75% quartile. And what is the maximum value? For each column, it will be displayed. So you can analyze from this class, what is the maximum value that is given is 1, because it is 0 and 1. So total number of values are 768. From this, you can find if there are any missing values. There are no missing values in any column. All values are 768, 768, 768. If any column is, or if any data, if any cell is left over empty, then we will have a missing value there. Okay. Yes, so this will be the output of your statistical summary of the data. How to find the statistical summary of the data is data.describe. Okay. So suppose if I want to find how many classes are there with 0 and how many with 1, then I need to print the class counts. Class counts is equal to data dot group by of, based on class only we are going to group it, dot size. It is going to count the number of values present over there. So I need to display the class count, class underscore counts. I can either display like this. So you can see non-diabetic is 500 and diabetic is 268. Yes. Is this data clear, or it should be organized in some other fashion? Is it okay to move with data modeling, or is there any flaw in this data? Can you tell me? Yes, can you understand my question? There are non-diabetic patients 500 and diabetic is 268. Is this data sufficient over, or will there be any skew, or will there be any bias over there? Bias is a very
it is biased because both sides we have equal number of data.
Yeah, it is biased towards non-diabetic. So whatever data, new data you provide there, the system will not be able to analyze what is that, and it will be trained only for non-diabetic data. Even if you provide diabetic, there are possibilities that the accuracy will go low and show it is non-diabetic. Okay, so there is a skew there in the data present available now. So before that, I told you, you have to decide which columns will depict the values of the class, which columns will play an important role in building the model of the class. So what we have to do is we have to find the correlation, the statistic called correlation. Okay, if you have +1, this is called as positive correlation, where it says that there is a strong relationship between the two variables. If you have -1, it means it is a negative correlation and there is no relationship between these two variables. When you say it is 0, we mean it as 0 correlation, where you cannot either say it is positive or negative. There is no relationship at all. Okay. So when you want to find out what is the correlation present over there, just give it as data dot correlation. And you'll find the correlation values here. So you can see, as you already know, the columns and the rows, when they are going to be plus and plus, it is going to be 1. Skin and skin, it is going to be 1. Test and test, it is going to be 1, because there is a strong relationship by itself. So there will be no change in the diagonal. Diagonal will have always the 1. The other values, when you see 0.15259, 0.05, when you compare this preg value is more correlated in where you can say 0.15, 0.33, 0.046. So pregnancy is more correlated towards class. So the class, predicting the class depends on pregnancy. It is more important to have the pregnancy value incorporated to find the class. Okay. When you come for skin, just come for skin, when you see 0.5. So this is of least importance. There is positive correlation, but least importance. So see, you have a negative correlation here. So there is no relationship between the age and the skin. Okay. So from this, you can understand which variable is related to which variable and which variables can be removed. Okay. So this pairwise correlation, when you have, you will see a perfect correlation with only with some output attributes. We have to see what is the perfect correlation where you have, you can see here 0.46, 0.06, 0.07, 0.1, 0.2. So you can rank from here. Pregnancy plays an important role. Then comes your mass, then comes your age, then comes your pedigree value, then comes your test value, and the least importance is to the class and skin. So even if there are missing values in these two columns, they can be removed. These columns can be removed because they play a very least important role in the prediction of the class. Okay, so now we can see this in the skew also. Data.skew, when you just put up data.skew, you can see what is the skew value there. See, you can see plus is having a negative skew and mass is having a negative skew. So based on all these, already we told plus and skin plays no role. So we can remove that. Then this has more skew towards the right. You can see that it has more skew towards the right. This you can see it in the graph. When you're going to look into the graph, we will understand all this. Okay. So just I'll tell you what is the how to make the graphical notation. So you will have to understand how you're going to understand the data with visualization. Even if you find it difficult to understand all these with these numerical values, you can just go on with visualization, that is with graphical models. So first option, we will go with univariate plots. So in univariate plots, you can see three types of univariate plots are there. Histogram, density plot, and box and whisker plot. Okay. So now we will make the histogram plot. Dot hist is the method. Yes, you can see, I'll make it little bit bigger in size. Fixed size is equal to 10 by 10. Yes, you can see it clearly now. Yes, can you understand from this histogram? Can you interpret anything from this histogram? Can you interpret anything from this histogram? You can see here the age, this age, test, and this pedi. You can see all are towards the left. These are called as exponential distributions. Test, pedi, and age, which are towards the left. These are called as exponential distributions. Yes, you can identify these are exponential distributions. And you can see that mass plus PLAS, and PREG. These are Gaussian. You can see that they are almost okay to have it. They have some bell shape. They have some bell shape with some values moved here and there. That is not an issue. So these three are with Gaussian distribution, or nearly Gaussian, you can say. These are Gaussian distribution, and these three are called as exponential distribution because they are towards the left or towards the right. Okay, so this will be interesting because machine learning techniques, you can see only we use Gaussian univariate distribution. So at the most, these three will play an important role, but already we have removed PLAS because it has a negative correlation. So pregnancy and mass is nothing but BMI, BMI of the person. This both will play an important role in predicting the model and fine-tuning the model also. So the same you can see with density plot also. Data.plot kind is equal to density, just make it as subplots. Subplots are true. Let us see what comes over there. Yes, it comes like this, right? So I need subplots and the layout to be share x equal to false. Again, I'll make the layout to be 3,3. Sorry, it's a spelling mistake.
If font size can be little bit more, ma'am, or little bit more zoom. Yeah.
Subplots are true. Layout is equal to 3, layout is equal to. Yes, you can see now, right? So this density plot is something similar to histogram. Okay, density plot will be something similar to histogram. Okay, so you can see the relationship between this histogram. This is nothing but a smooth histogram. Density plot is nothing but a smooth histogram. That's all. Okay, so you can see the density plot over here. Here also you can find these three: pregnancy, PLAS, and mass, BMI. These three are in Gaussian distribution, and you can see the test, age, and PD. These three are in the exponential distribution. Okay, so the next thing is box and whisker plot. Data.plot of kind is equal to what type of plot we are going to make is box plot. Subplot is equal to true. I'm not going to share the x coordinates over here. So again, I didn't mention the layout. Yes. Yes. So you can see from the box whisker plot this, and I'll make the size to be fixed size to be 10,10. So it will be easy for you to visualize it. Yes. So you can see here, this box plot is, this is how we will read the box plot. Actually, in the descriptive statistics, we have seen 25%, 50%, 75% quartile, right? So that is the value what is used to predict this box plot. Here you can see this is going to be a mean value. The green line is going to be a mean value. This is going to be a 25% quartile and 75% quartile. And there are some calculations, some statistical calculations, which you will see in your tomorrow session. In your statistical analysis, you will find how to find this, mark out this box plot as usual. Okay. So when you are clear with how to mark these box plots, you can see here, the box plot here, it is clear. Yes. But here you can see some outlier values are present. This is above the maximum value and below the minimum value. Okay. So here also the box plot seems to be good. This is your 25% quartile and 75% quartile, and this is quite good, but there are some outliers present in the plus. And in the skin, you can see the 25% quartile comes near the minimum value. So this also has some outliers, and here also it is not that clear to have. It is clear that in this skin test, age, pedi, these are not in a clear manner. They are skewed. They are skewed towards the smaller values. So maximum values will be towards the minimum values. Maximum number of values present in the data will be towards the minimum of that particular column. Okay. So preg, class, mass.
What can we categorize a class, ma?
Pardon?
Class.
Yes.
So we have the exponential distribution and Gaussian distribution. Where can we categorize a class?
No, actually, class is actually the data what we are going to see is we are not looking into the class. Here you can see the minimum value is 0.0, maximum value is 1.0. So this box, blue clad box, what you see here is given over here. There are no outliers, nothing is going to be mentioned because it is just a binary value. 0 and 1 is just a binary value. Okay. So here you cannot predict that. Suppose if you are going to predict the house price of a house, then you will see a box plot clearly, whether there are outliers present or whether they are going to be towards the maximum or towards the minimum. Hope you can understand. Class is nothing but the predictor variable which we need not analyze at all. Okay. The other values, other independent values what are present should be analyzed first, whether the value should be normalized or it should be transformed to some other format or any value should be removed. If there are outliers, we need to make up the value to bring it to some state. Okay. So here you can see test has more outliers. Normally, when you look into the data, we drop the predictor variable column. We don't use the predictor variable column at all. Okay. Normally, it is a procedure. To show you everything, I have made it. Because dropping a column, this and that, if I don't want to confuse a lot. Just to give an introduction, this would be more sufficient. Hope you can understand, right?
Ma. Yes, ma. You can proceed, ma.
Yeah. So this is regarding the univariate plot. And when you go with multivariate plots, you have a so these are the two types of multivariate plots available. Okay. So here also this correlation matrix plot, we will see some correlation matrix plot so that you can understand it better. So we find the correlation values as before. Okay. So based on this correlation values, I'm going to make the correlation plot. Nowadays, many people use SNS, Seaborn library, but I'm not going to use Seaborn library. I'm just going to use a normal PyPlot from Matplotlib. From Matplotlib, import PyPlot. Then from Pandas, no, this is not needed. Then we will make the figure. PyPlot.figure. Then AX equal to X is nothing but the x-axis what we are going to mention it. Fig dot add underscore subplot is going to be a 111 plot. And one more thing is we should know that maybe today we will prepare a code, and when we execute it after a month or after 6 months of time or after 1 year of time, we will find some bugs over there. It is because of the updation of the library. Okay, so that is why I prefer to use collab during the initial stages. Otherwise, what will happen is you will not be able to identify whether the model what you have prepared is correct or is there any mistakes over there. So better get practiced with these things, then we can go on with Anaconda. We will set X ticks first, then we will set Y ticks. Set of X tick labels of names. Then we will give AX dot set underscore Y tick labels of names. Plot dot show. So it is correct. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. Correlations is not defined. It is correlation. So we have to execute that, only then the data will be stored over there. Then I come to this. Cmin is not defined. Cmin is equal to, sorry, it is not Cmin, it is Vmin. Vertical minimum. This is not just a warning over there. You can see here the values what we have plotted. This one is of positive correlation and this purple is of negative correlation. So we don't have any negative correlation values here, clear negative correlation. But till this color, you have some color variations over there. So you have values till minus 0.5. Okay, you have values till minus 0.5 in the correlation. So you can see here, I'm just putting up the correlation data in a variable correlation. I'm using that MatShow for correlation value. Then the minimum will be -1 to maximum value is 1, -1 to 1. So I'm going to color bar this. This CAX color bar is nothing but this bar what you have. Okay. So these are the ticks and the names. What is the X label and Y label, whatever we are providing, it will be specified over there. So regarding the Seaborn, there is another library called Seaborn. Um, so Seaborn library is nothing but you are going to make all data clear with inbuilt functions. So there is no necessity for you to make up any data like this. This chart, everything we have made, the x and y coordinates, everything. But here we are not in necessity to do that. We will just use the inbuilt method. Figure of what is the figure size we are going to mention here. Fig size is equal to, let me give it as 10 by 10. Then we will have SNS dot heat map of data dot correlation. What the method we use there, we are going to use it here. CMAP is equal to, what is the type of CMAP we are going to use is greens. It will be just in green shades. Annotate equal to false. PLT. Yes, let me import the library also. Import matplotlib dot iplot as PLT. You can see now clearly we didn't make any codes. Here we had a lot of codes, xtrix, ytrix, this and that. But in SNS, this is the advantage that you can make it in single line. Just data.car, we are going to call it out and we are going to just display everything over there. If I want to make the values also displayed over there, just I will make it as true. So you can see the values also present over there. So these things, these white colors have a very low correlation, negative correlation over here. Below 0 is nothing, but it has a negative correlation over here. Okay. Then we come with the scatter plot library. Actually, the scatter plot library is deprecated from pandas. Pandas dot. Let me show you how to rectify the errors even if it is deprecated. I'm just typing a older version code now. Okay. So scatter underscore matrix of data. Plot dot show. Yes, you can see here. No module name pandas.tools. So you just go on to search Stack Overflow where you can find a lot of discussions over there. What we should do and what we should not do. Everything will be there. Or you can just search in the Google. They will give you all suggestions what to do and what not to do. Everything will be specified over there. So we are just going to use pandas dot plots pandas.plotting.scatter matrix. This is the actual method what we have to use. Okay, again, now there will be error. You can see that we have already a specified error. Pandas.tools.plotting is not available. So just remove these tools over here. Now it says pandas is not available. Okay. You will see it here. Panda dot. Pandas as PD. Yes, this is the scatter plot. Actually, why I showed you all this is when you do it with Google Colab, even if there is an error over there, you can find it from Stack Overflow, or you can even just type the error what it is showing. If it is showing the scatter matrix is not defined, and you can type Stack Overflow, you can find the list of suggestions. You can try any one of the suggestion will be suitable for your problem. Okay, because the data what they discussed and what you are discussing is not the correct one, exact one, but something will help you. So until you get into your try that, this is not going to be there. See, even if you learn it today, as I told you, after a year the methods will be deprecated. There will be some changes in the arguments. So these things you can verify it over internet and you can use it. Okay, so even here you can see the plots are a little bit, you can see here the class is either in the entire 0 or in the entire ones. Okay, and this is entirely towards concentrated in one area. This age is concentrated towards the left only, not towards the right. So you can see the skew also here. Okay, so this is how you can see the values over there. So this is regarding the exploratory data analysis. After this, we will be going on with feature selection. So how to select the features which is important and which is not important. That is not in this section. You can have it in the next section of your refresher program. Now let me come to the doubt sections. If you have any doubts till this, you can ask me. Because as of data exploration, I have explained you all the available and what are the things you have to do. But in practical concern, there will be some changes and some questions can raise from your side. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, please. Yes, Colab notebook I'll share with the organizers so that they will share with you.
Participants have doubt any about the session until now, can ask the questions to ma'am now. Ma'am, someone was posted in the chat box that
what should be done if the data has some text? If the data has some text that is entirely different, it is going to be natural language processing. You cannot make some descriptive analysis over here. Even if you have one descriptive code or descriptive data over here, you will not be able to see any descriptive statistics or any data over there. Bharati, I think I'm clear. Text values cannot be made under data exploration. You cannot see anything in the data exploration. You have to transform those as this data transformation has to be done. Either you have to change the data type to be zeros and ones, or some numerical value assignment should be done over there to get it clear. Okay. Regarding text, if you're having all the data to be entirely text values, then you will have to go with natural language processing, where the bag of words will be dealt over. Okay. Bharti, am I clear? Yes, coming to the next, how to carry out nonlinear regression. I think that is beyond the scope of this discussion, but anyhow, when you want to go with polynomial regression, or that is not a linear regression. Polynomial regression is nothing but when you have something, let me show you. See, polynomial regression, when you go with linear regression, when you go with linear regression, all your data will be towards this. That is, your data will be plotted over here like this. But when you have a data like which is almost mingled over, you will not be able to find it out. So what we have to do is we have to go with polynomial regression, where you can fit the data, but you should take care that your data is not overfitted. Your model is not overfitted to the data. If your model is overfitted to the data, then it will be of mere waste of deciding this regression. Mr. Srinivasa, are you clear with it? When you go with linear regression, it would be favorable to decide whether your data is, whether your model is behaving well or not. When you go with a non-linear regression, you should take into consideration of the overfitting of the model also, because non-linear regression like polynomial regression will lead to overfitting of data. So you have to take care of it also. Yes, Bharati, it should be converted into numerical. Numerical or categorical, anything. It should be converted to some aspect which would be introduced into the descriptive analytics. Otherwise, you cannot analyze the data based on the text value available, like yes, no, pass, fail. This all should be categorized to some other numerical value. Yes, any other? I think I'm clear with how to explore the data first. This session is exclusively for data exploration. How you are going to explore the data, how you are going to read the data, how you are going to understand the data. Actually, data analysis is a field where you have to speak with the data. The data will tell you something and you have to understand what the data speaks with you. So this data exploration will be the initial part from that. How to take care of redundancy? Redundancy in the sense, you mean with the column, specific column, or with the entire data? There are some methods like duplicate removal. You can find whether duplicate values are present over there and you can try to remove it.
Mr. Arvind Mahindu, you have raised your hands, right? Do you want to know anything from ma'am? Do you have any doubts regarding the session?
Yes, any other doubts?
Participants, if you have any doubt, means you can post the queries in the chat box now.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Ma'am, are you going to continue, ma'am?
No, I think the time is finished, right?
To 1 o'clock only the time will finish, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am.
No, if you want to continue, I'll continue with the programming. That's not an issue.
Okay,
How
ma'am.
long it is left over?
The session will end at 1 o'clock, ma'am. From 1 to 2, there will be lunch break, and after that, the function
then
session, next session will start at 2 o'clock, ma'am.
Okay,
You have time until 1 o'clock, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Actually, the time zone what I have here is Saudi time, so I'm confused with it.
Okay,
It's now
It's okay, ma'am. No
12:45.
issues. No issues, ma'am. You have 15 minutes more, ma'am.
Yeah. So regarding what Bharati asked me, let me come to the duplicates. How to remove the duplicates and NA values. We call it as NA, which are null values. Okay. So when you come with duplicate values, you need to check out how to find the duplicate values over there. So what we have is data dot. If you want to sort the values also, you can sort it, but here we don't have any columns to sort. If you want to sort it over based on some upper index, let me say pregnancy. Let us main it as pregnancy. Comma in place. This is a way handle what we use to replace the current values.
Ma'am, whether font size can be little bit increased. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Now you can see here in the pregnancy, it is sorted over. Okay. It starts from 0 and other things 197, 198, 199. It is sorted. If you want to sort the data based on some particular column, you can do it using sort values. Similarly, when you want to drop some duplicates, but be careful when you drop the duplicates. Once when you drop the duplicates, you cannot retain it back. Okay. So let me give it as data 1 is equal to data dot drop underscore duplicate. So have the original data as such. Don't mess up with the original data. Have the original data as such. So the subset will be from, we have seen some repetition values over here in pregnancy. Okay. So let me go with pregnancy itself. Comma, keep the values to be false, comma, in place equal to you can see here, when you remove the duplicates, no values are available over there. Because you see, when you have 0, all the duplicates value will be removed where the row value is 0. Wherever 197 is repeated, everything will be removed. Wherever 198 is repeated, everything will be removed. So it is quite difficult to handle with duplicate data when you are dealing with specific thing. So here, when you want to remove some duplicate values, let me tell you whether to have a NA method. We will have a NA method. So NA method is nothing but dropping the values. So data 1 don't have any values. Let me check whether I have the same values retained over there in data. Yes, it is there. So what I will do now is df dot drop NA. This will drop the columns where values are not present. Okay. Not df, data. You will have the same set of values because already we have checked it that there is no such empty columns available over there. To check if there is an empty value, we need to use isNull method to detect whether you have any missing values over there in the data frame. So for that, we will be having data dot isNull. This is the method to check whether you have any null values or not. Okay, so you can see here, we don't have any null values over any of the columns. Okay, so any of the columns don't have any null values, so there is nothing to work on with this method. Drop NA will work only when you have the null values available over there. Since I don't have any null values available in the data set, there is no use of having a null value over there. Okay. Other than this, there are many other methods where you will not, it is not limited. Data exploration is not limited, like converting textual data into numerical data. Then you can split the data frame. You can select specific rows in the data frame. So these things will not come under exploratory. I'm not going to deal with these things. I'm just telling you how to go on with exploration of the data to analyze whether your model is going to be perfect accuracy or not. Okay. I think, ma'am, this is fine, and I have completed it. Link to the data set used in the experiment. You can find it in Kaggle. Just go to kaggle.com and you can find it. And you can search it as PIMA diabetes. I showed you how to search it, right? Just go to Kaggle. And you can type over here PIMA database. Okay. PIMA diabetes means you will have many diabetes over here. And you can even learn from Kaggle many things. Here, exploratory data analysis is done over in PIMA dataset. You can see the exploratory data analysis. After that only, anyone will go on with what is available over there. See, they are loading the libraries. Then it is this is model building. Just this is not required over here. So this is head of data. How to find the head of data? What is the head of data available over there? It is non-null. Nothing is null over here in the data set. Okay. So what is the target? What is the target you are going to fix is the class, whether it is diabetic or not. So as we have already seen, diabetic is 268 and healthy is 500. So this is just a plot of showing how the values are available over there. This is to check whether you have any null values. NaN is nothing but to check any null values. So missing values, how many missing values will be available over there. So they have changed the database. They have modified the database to make some missing values available over there. Then they have used it. So this is regarding the box and whisker plot to check whether if there are outliers present over there or not. And then the correlation matrix. So this is how we will have the EDA. Only EDA will be dealt only with this. Okay. So apart from this, when we want to proceed over the next thing, we have to decide what is feature engineering. What are the features we are going to choose for prediction of the output and how we are going to prepare the model over it.
Ma'am, can you share your collab file which you have created right now?
Yes, I will share it. Share the data set and the collab file with the coordinators. Then, yes. Yes, please. I couldn't hear you.
Is that over, ma'am?
Yeah.
Participants, do you have any doubt? Okay. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. That was an informative session. Participants' feedback link has been posted in the chat box. Links won't be shared through WhatsApp. Someone was asked that whether you will post the link in the WhatsApp. Definitely not, sir. We won't post any link through WhatsApp. Only chat box only will post the links. Feedback link will be considered as the attendance and it will be posted in the forenoon session and afternoon session. Feedback along with quiz link will be posted in the afternoon session. Participants, if you have any queries, means you can post it in the chat box at the end of the session. So kindly make a note of it, the note of the queries that you are going to ask to the resource person, and later you can post it in the chat box to clear your doubts. Okay. And let us take a break for the lunch. And I request you to rejoin for the next technical session by 2 p.m. Thank you.